No matter how much you make or how much you spend, there's a simple strategy that you can use starting today to reduce your living expenses and increase your savings. Now, this strategy is very easy to learn and easy to do, and it's personalized to your unique needs. Now, using this strategy will set you on the path to long-term financial growth and success. So, let's talk about the fundamentals of the essential expenses strategy. Hello again, it's Mark with Money Fundamentals, and we got another video to help you get the essential money knowledge you need for life. So, here's the problem we're trying to solve today. Society's expectations on what is required, air quotes, to be paid for or spent by you on a monthly basis is driving many of us to financial dissatisfaction, causing us to accumulate unsustainable levels of debt, reducing the amount that is saved, and destroying many of our abilities to become financially independent. From housing to cars to food to almost everything else we use, many of us fall prey to someone else's expectations and assume that, hey, that's what we need. Here's a couple of examples. How about this one? The general social media vision of wealthy usually includes over-the-top houses, exotic automobiles, and fabulous spending sprees. Or this one. The middle-class lifestyle of today is only truly achieved if you are buying a new car every few years, constantly upgrading your phone to the latest i-something, and living on the edge financially. Now the end result of trying to live our lives like this is, like I mentioned in my emergency fund video, which is linked above and in the description below, that the majority of Americans have less than $1,000 in savings to cover an emergency. Once again, not a great outcome, to say the least. Well, there is a solution to this problem, and it's based on the concept of what I call essential expenses. Now, essential expenses are the true core must-have expenses that we need to be able to get through life on a daily basis. And once those essential expenses are identified, we're free to use any funds that we have left over to live life on our own terms, not someone else's terms. Okay, so here's how you can start to use this strategy in your life. Before we get into that, there's 4 key things I think you need to think about. First, realize that almost every expense is optional at some level. Even the basics that we think of as we need no matter what are housing, food, and clothing. Here's an example. Think about your house. What's essential in terms of housing? I guess at its most basic level, a house is a roof over your head that keeps the weather out. Okay, so for some people, an essential expense on the housing side of things would be a cabin in the woods. For other people, their definition of what an essential housing expense is a mansion in the hills. It's all variable, but you can see there's a wide variety in cost as well as upkeep and everything that's associated with that mansion in the hills versus the little cabin in the woods. Big difference, but depending on the person, each one of those could be considered essential expenses. The second thing to think about is, or remember, is that what you prioritize should be based on your needs and goals, not someone else's expectations. Remember, it's your life and your money. Make decisions based on that, not someone on social media. The third thing to think about is that the fact is that nearly all of us are restrained by the money that's available to us in one way or another. Some have more, some have less. That's the way it is. It's reality. And that reality is what should drive our own individual spending and savings. Now, you can certainly work towards increasing the money you have available. You know, new job skills, a promotion, start a business, those types of things. But it's important to start where you are now and build from there. And the fourth thing to keep in mind, and maybe the most important, is that true financial independence is not about how much money we have, but how we prioritize the money we do have, whatever that amount is. Think about this. You've probably heard about lottery winners, right? People that win the Powerball or something like that. The reality is that whether they win 50 million, 500 million, or $1 billion, about 70% of lotto winners lose or spend all that money within 5 years. What does that tell you? That in almost all cases, people who win the lottery just spend based on somebody else's assumptions and expectations instead of their own way of life and the thing that they are used to. They get caught into the trap of spending more and more and more because, hey, that's what people are expected to spend if you win the lottery. So 70% of lottery winners are broke or have spent all that money within 5 years of winning the lottery. Pretty surprising. So, keeping those 4 principles in mind, it's now time to get real and start putting the essential expenses strategy to work for yourself. First, start off by itemizing your own spending over the last 30 days at least, and identify all the various areas that you are giving your dollars towards. Major categories would include housing, food, transportation, clothing, childcare, healthcare. Now, you can get as detailed as you want in breaking down your expenses into all these various categories, but however you do it, try to account for all of your spending. Then, once you've done that, take a look at each one of those expense categories in detail and see if there's anything you're willing to change in order to reduce that particular expense. It could be as simple as reducing the amount that you spend on eating out by maybe $10 a week due to taking your lunch to work just one day instead of going out. Or it could be as extreme as deciding to sell your luxury car and purchase a basic car in good used condition with the cash to meet your transportation needs. The goal is to make each of your expenses more essential to you, thus freeing up dollars that you can use elsewhere. Next, make these decisions based on what your real priorities are. Now, each one of us is going to have different priorities depending where we are in life. That's fine. The important thing is to make it based on your own individual priorities, not somebody else's priorities or somebody else's expectations. Once you've done that, take the money that you've found by reducing your essential expenses and use it to improve your life. Build your emergency fund, save for retirement, or use for something else that's more important to you than eating a soggy burger at a fast food restaurant 5 days a week. There you have it, the essential expenses strategy. It's a great way for you to begin to get a clearer idea just where and how much you are currently spending, so you can make more informed and thoughtful decisions on how to spend your money in the future. Now, we're going to have additional videos in the future on how to reduce the amount you spend and use those savings to reach your goals. So, don't miss out. If you haven't already, go ahead and subscribe to the channel, like this video, give it a thumbs up so that'll help others benefit from the work we're doing here. And be sure to leave a comment letting us know that you did subscribe, and I'll do my best to get back to each and every one of you. I'd also like to hear in the comments from any of you that have gone through this process on your own. Have you found it useful? How much money did you find, air quotes, how much money did you find in your spending that you could reprioritize and use towards something that's more important to you? Let us know. We'd love to hear your comments down below, and maybe you can help others out as well. So that's it for now. Thanks again for your time, and until the next one, take care.